Hi, this is Regeline Sabat, also known as Gigi. You're listening to Walk With Me podcast. My guest today is Anza Goodbar. Anza Goodbar is a serial entrepreneur, John Maxwell certified coach, trainer, motivational speaker, and best-selling author. And today we are celebrating Walk With Me podcast 50th episode. Welcome to the show, Anza.
Thank you for having me, Gigi.
You're welcome. It's an honor to have you here today. Now, why don't you start off by telling us about you and where you're from?
Sure. I am from Denver, Colorado. I have been an entrepreneur since 2004. I started with a mortgage company in 2008 when the industry crashed. I had to figure out something new. And so I started into the world of online businesses. I opened a virtual business services company and I help women grow six-figure businesses. In 2016, I added John Maxwell coaching certification and started doing a little speaking and doing more training in my business to help offer a real full service to my clients.
I love it. Now, tell us more about your shift from persistent to resilient principle.
Mm, well, I'll just back up a little bit. When I owned my mortgage company, I met a friend who was a virtual assistant, and she said, you should hire one of my people to help you with your business. And I thought, that's the dumbest idea I've ever heard. I have a brick and mortar company. I need someone in my office who can get coffee, set up a signing room, make photocopies, bring things to people physically. Having somebody 10 miles down the road wasn't really going to help me out. And when the shift happened in the mortgage industry, it happened very quickly. And at first I thought, oh, it's just a bubble. I need to figure out some short-term income, right? And so all of a sudden, when my real life circumstances changed, my perspective shifted, and it was like, I wonder if I could do what she could do. And at first, again, I thought it was just going to be this short-term gig of creating some money until things went back to normal in the mortgage industry. But things didn't turn into normal in the mortgage industry. And so I had to learn to figure it out. This was in the day before we had online coaches or really any coaches in the industry. You had personal development trainers and that type of thing, of course. And so it was like I needed to figure out how to create a way to build a business that was going to replicate the income that I had. And the lifestyle that I had created. And so I had gone to visit a headhunter and they're like, oh, sure, we can get you a job making 50, maybe $65,000 a year. And it's like, well, that's not going to cover what my income requirements are. And so it was a matter of looking at what skills did I have, what need was there in the marketplace, and how could I fill that need? And so it was a journey of retooling and rediscovering who I was and what I could become in order to thrive in this new world of online businesses.
That's right. And you are thriving. I love it. Now, tell us more about your intentional living principle.
Oh my goodness. So I am a firm believer that we have to be incredibly intentional about the actions that we take because we're either making a decision by actively choosing something or we're making a decision by abdicating our power and being passive in the decision making process. And so I feel like if you want to be able to create something, you need to set an intentional goal and you need to break that goal into intentional steps to get there. Nothing happens by chance. Nothing happens by chance. You have to have a vision, you have to cast the vision, and you need to take action.
That's right. Action truly matters. Now, tell us more about how important it is to show up for yourself.
Oh my goodness, it is so important the way that you show up. I was talking on a friend's Facebook page the other day about my journey and how I never had to interview for a promotion when I worked in corporate America because I always showed up. 110%, no matter what I did, I was in all the way. And so if I wanted an upward mobility or to transfer laterally, all I had to do was mention, I'd really like to work in that department or I'd really like to have that job. And then people were recruiting me. And it's the same way in my online business. I don't ever advertise. I have never advertised in the 12 years I've been in business. People refer me over and over because when I show up, I show up. I believe that if I am building my business correctly, I'm making the women that I work with successful. The more successful they are, the more successful I will become. And actually, that was a principle I learned from Mary Kay Ash way back in my 20s when I was a Mary Kay beauty consultant. You know, she really talked about that go give spirit. And I think that that's absolutely true. I don't look at other women or other businesses as being competition. I look at ways that I can collaborate and work together so we can grow, because there's more than enough business out there for all of us. And just because I have an online business services company, just because I speak, just because I write, just because I offer training, I come at it from a very different perspective than maybe one of my colleagues who does. And maybe that colleague is going to be a better fit for a potential client than I am. And so I want to make sure that I always have a referral community to be able to send business to. But I also want to be in their community. So if I'm a better fit than they are, that they'll send business my way as well.
That is fantastic. Now, tell us more about how important it is to maintain a positive attitude.
You know what? Our mind is the most powerful muscle in our body. And the more we believe we can accomplish, the more we're going to accomplish. But it's a muscle, just like working out your quads or your biceps. You have to intentionally choose how you're going to feel, and you have to intentionally choose what you're going to believe. And one of the biggest mind shifts for me was recognizing that emotions just are. They don't have to be good or bad. They just are. And just allow yourself to feel what it is. And I go back to when I lost my mortgage company, I had a lot of shame that was built around that. I had 11 employees and their families who were counting on me to be their provider for income and paying their mortgage and, you know, on and on. And when we weren't able to sustain in that environment, I felt disappointment, I felt shame, and for a while it consumed me and it put me into a pity party, right? It was like, oh, if I'd only done this, oh, if I'd only done that. And once I was able to realize, you know what, we did the best that we could with the information that was available to us at the time, it shifted my mindset into, oh, you can rebuild a business. Oh, you do have the knowledge, you have the resources, you have the wherewithal within you. And that was able to set me back on that path forward to success again. But if we allow ourselves to wallow and get caught up in negative emotions, it can stop our momentum in its tracks. And you know as well as I do, action taking is what causes momentum, right? And
That's
so
right.
if we stop ourselves with getting caught up in our emotions and letting that affect what we believe, it can totally derail us from any kind of future success.
Yes, ma'am. A positive attitude truly matters. Now, tell us more about your company, Anza Goodbar.
Sure. So I work with women primarily since COVID to help them create six-figure businesses. Right now, only 15% of our kids are in school in some form, and that may actually decrease. I know here in Colorado, they're going back on lockdown because of COVID. And so most of the women infected by job losses are moms, and they need to be able to replace income from jobs that were lost so they could be at home to be with their kids. Because I started my business literally with $27 in my pocket after the mortgage industry um, fell apart, I feel like I am uniquely qualified to help women take their education, their experience, their passion, and their purpose and turn that into an income generating business that they can work around their family, so they can be present to school their kids, so they can be, you know, a better wife, a better mom, a better friend, and be able to sustain a reasonable lifestyle as we navigate through the waters of COVID-19. I also work with authors and I help them self-publish. And I also do ghostwriting services as
Wow.
well as on the coaching side. I call it life design strategies because really you are taking what you have and you're creating new strategies to create the results that you want in your life and or business.
That is truly inspiring. You started your company with $27 and now you're running a six-figure company. That
Yes.
is amazing. Now, Anza, tell us more about the book you co-authored with other authors, Activate Your Life, 30 Transformational Exercises from Coaches Around the World, Volume 2.
Mm. Well, it was a really fun process to be a part of. And the whole idea is not everybody's ready to jump into a group coaching program or even a one-on-one coaching relationship. But everybody has a desire to do some kind of personal development. And so each of the chapters in this book comes from a coach that comes from a different perspective, from a different modality, and everyone has offered one exercise. So you can pick up the book and read it from any point in the book and grab 30 minutes of personal development. Each exercise is meant to move you forward in one aspect of your life. It could be incorporating journaling to be able to increase your self-awareness. It could be learning how to meditate to reduce stress in your life. There are 30 great exercises from coaches all around the world. And I'm just going to plug the partner book, which I wasn't a part of. They had 80 coaches. And so both of those together as a group set can give you more than a year worth of personal development tidbits if you're not ready to walk into a one-on-one relationship with somebody.
I love it. Now, Anza, what is the most difficult challenge you had to face in your life?
Oh, the most difficult challenge. I think it was overcoming other people's perception of who I was. I was a pregnant teen. I got pregnant at 16, got married at 17, and everybody had a perception because I got pregnant early that I wasn't going to amount to anything. In fact, I was told that on many occasions that I had just thrown my future away and that I was not going to experience success. I would probably be on welfare. And my children would be in gangs and go to prison. That was the life path that was laid out for me. And I think overcoming what other people said my future was going to be to really believe in myself and create the future that I wanted to have.
Amen. Believing in yourself truly matters. Now,
Mm,
was there a time in your life journey when you experienced an aha moment?
mm, yes. Um, you're going to laugh at me, Gigi. You're going to laugh.
Talk.
So I have worked with several coaches through the years, especially since I became an online entrepreneur. And, I think everybody always struggles with prices and their packages and all of that type of thing. And for many years, and until like this year, right, I
Right.
didn't charge a lot for some of my services because it was really easy for me to do. And so in my mind, if it was easy, I shouldn't charge a lot for it, right? And there were seasons in my business where I struggled, right? And I met with a mindset coach, gosh, it's been about 6 months ago. And we were talking about my relationship with money. And I said, I don't have a problem receiving money. I have no problem whatsoever with believing I deserve to make a lot of money. But what I found is that I put limitations on what I should charge, and according to how difficult it was for me. So if something was more difficult, I charged more for it. But what I really needed to look at is what is the value that I'm giving somebody else, regardless of how easy it was for me. And she challenged me to change my pricing. And I will tell you that I doubled my prices after meeting with her. And I am turning away business. I cannot keep up with it because I switched the way that I looked at the value that I brought to another person's business. And by partnering with me, the growth that they can experience. And so I think that was my biggest aha. Just because it's easy for you doesn't mean you're not bringing great value.
That's right. And shifting your mindset from a negative mindset to a positive mindset truly matters. Now,
Mhm.
tell us more about what gives you happiness in your life.
Well, my kids, my granddaughter especially, definitely bring me joy. But one of the things that brings me the most joy is ballroom dancing.
Ballroom dancing. Wonderful.
Ballroom dancing, yeah.
I love it. Now, Anta, what is your best advice to the audience for walking with purpose and living a life of happiness?
Mm. I think the biggest piece of advice would be know what your core values are and stay true to your core values, because if you're true to your core values, you're going to walk in your purpose, and God is going to bless those actions.
Amen. Be true to your core values. That is absolutely amazing. Now, Anza, thank you so much for being a guest on Walk With Me podcast. I truly appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a
You're
blessing to
welcome.
get to chat with you today.
Likewise. Now, where can the audience find you, Anza?
I'm super easy to find. You can find me at anzagoodbar.com. On Instagram, you can find me at Anza Goodbar.
Ladies and gentlemen, make sure to check out Anza at her website, anzagoodbar.com. And Anza, thank you again so much for being a guest on Walk With Me podcast.
Thank you so much, and congratulations on your 50 episodes.
Thank you. Yay. Have a blessed day, Anza.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.